The views and comments expressed on the following radio program by its hosts and their guests do not necessarily reflect the views of rmconair.com or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to another Road to Hollywood. Thank you so much for joining us. We've got a very exciting show tonight. As always, we've got special guests in the house, people that are deep in the industry in all sorts of areas. Tonight we're going to focus on songwriting and production. As you know, it's where it all starts. Before you get to the promotion machine, the distribution, the marketing, and all that, it all starts with a song. We'd like to welcome our special guest tonight in the studio, longtime friend, big supporter. His name is Larry D. He's a producer, manager, executive in the industry. Welcome to the Road to Hollywood.
Hey, thanks, man. Happy to be here, man. Excited. Always supportive of my dude, Jay Rosinski. Proud of him and the movement that they have happening. You know.
We appreciate that. And he's brought a very special guest with him, who's also a speaker at IES this year. He is a writer, producer, works with a who's who in the industry. We'll drop some credits for you in a second. His name is Kyle Townsend. Welcome to the Road to Hollywood.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
Thank you so much for coming.
Again,
we're going to get right into it. It is, again, a very competitive business. It's all about, the business of coming up with a hit song. It's never been more evident today that you've got to have a reactionary song to get the whole ball rolling. And again, there's people with maybe lesser talent, but a great song that are hitting big. Mm-hmm. And people with incredible talents, they're sitting at home wondering what's going on. Why are those guys on TV? Why are they on the charts?
Right.
And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So first off, Larry, why don't you talk a little bit about your history, how you got in the music business. Give us a little summary up to date of the road to where we are now.
A lot of it started in Oklahoma, where I grew up, working around the Gap Band, the old school guys, Charlie Wilson, those guys, and my brother, who was friends with Charlie Wilson, those guys had bands, and so I used to watch them and got involved and kind of followed my brother's footsteps and wound up producing my own records and wound up moving out to California, getting deals and moving on to producing guys like Master P and some of the other artists and putting together multi-platinum producers networks and kind of where we are today and producing a lot of mainstream artists. And so it's been cool. It's been really fun and exciting, man. Exciting journey.
I know those were exciting days when we kind of came through the vinyl into cassette into the real boom of hip-hop. Obviously, you saw, Master P in the early days and, of course, E40 and Too Short and all these guys.
Absolutely.
Give us what your favorite memories are, that evolution there.
I tell a lot of the guys the younger producers that I meet today, man, we were, and you can attest to this, Jay, we were making money in the days of COD, where when you ship your records as a distributor, because I work for Solar as a director, and when you ship the records, the distributor had to sell them. We got our checks that day. We didn't have to wait 60, 90 days to get paid,
right.
So it's their responsibility to sell a record. So those were super exciting days because the return policy was not around, so which changed the game. So I was really excited to see that, man, and watching the transitions now, man. I mean, it's all over the place. I mean, of course, because of technology, man. I mean, it's everywhere now, man. I mean, but I love those days, man. It was a lot of fun, man. A lot of fun.
Yeah, well, coming up to today's business, obviously we've probably been through more changes in the last 5 years than the last 50.
Absolutely.
Especially even in the last month. The way I look at the business now is if you're not like right on it like every day, there's some kind of technology or some kind of change going on, especially on the business side. Now, I know creatively songwriting is timeless,
Yeah.
Some of the same techniques, guys were writing songs 50 years ago still apply today. But obviously the way they're able to demo those, and you hardly ever hear the word demo anymore, especially outside, the studio. Everybody's cutting masters, whether it be in their house or their laptop, and in a minute they're going to be making it on their cell phone. So
absolutely,
they need to start doing demos more.
It's
some of this garbage coming.
It's pretty radical. Now, Kyle, tell us a little bit, because I know you work extensively with Diane Warren, among others, and we know Diane's one of the top songwriting people ever. With the Oscars and the Grammys, and of course she's written with Beyonce and Aerosmith, Elton John, Whitney Houston, Tina Turner, Streisand, NSYNC, and I know you've done some work with Celine Dion and Keisha Cole and the Saturdays. Why don't you talk about how you came up in the business and how you eventually got to work, with Diane?
Yeah, my story is just like most people. I came out here with a dream and no money and knowing no one, and I moved out here from Seattle in 2001, I think it was, and met some people, and things just happened to fall into place for me. It was just a matter of taking a chance, and I scored a meeting with some people at Universal Music Publishing, and they put me on to a producer that was signed there, and from that one relationship, kind of everything kind of blew up from there. And I met Diane maybe 5 years after I got here, but it was 5 years of a lot of hard work and not making any money, and doing what I had to do to get people to hear my music, and but it kind of paid off. And now working with Diane, and I've done some stuff for, like you said, Celine Dion and Keisha Cole and Sean Kingston, Jessie J. Just had Silver Linings Playbook, just did very well. I'm on that soundtrack as well as in the movie. Did a scene in that movie we scored, and the movie I believe it was Oscar nominated 8 times, and we were very proud to be a part of that. And
well, that's great. I mean, from your experience coming through the business, what is the the elements of a hit single? Obviously, no one can craft that, even though guys try it with computers and they try and craft the perfect single. What do you see are the elements that make a timeless song?
Right out of the gate, anybody listening, I will say that the song is the most important thing, and I mean lyric and melody. And I'm saying that as a producer. Everybody's really enamored with their own tracks. I got the hottest beats, I got the hottest tracks, or whatever. You can go, whatever. Lyric and melody is the key to any hit song. It's lyric and melody, and this is one thing I've learned working with Diane as much as I have. The importance of a strong lyric and a very, very strong melody.
Because, I mean, that melody can later transpose to a greeting card or an elevator version or a toy, Seems to be more uses of music than ever before, even though we've lost a lot of that, sales in the middle. Seems to be more uses than ever. And like you say, if you don't have a great melody, how's that going to translate to all those other uses?
Right. Quincy Jones himself told me, he looked at me and he said, he's his real deep voice, and he says, Kyle, the melody is the voice of God. That's how he said it to me. The melody is crucial. It's crucial. And working with Diane again, that experience has been invaluable, as you would imagine. One of the things I would say that I notice now more than anything is how strong her melodies are and how weak a lot of up-and-coming songwriters, their melodies are. The melodic, there's no growth in the melody. There's no real strong structure. It's kind of free form almost. Doesn't really have a pattern or a personality. And I really feel like the melody. I mean, melody. I can't say that enough. Work on your melodies.
Well, it's amazing that she's come up with so many incredible, melodies. I know people are probably covering the covers of the cover by now of her catalog, but it seems to be. The one thing about her we've always heard is her work ethic. She works at this. It's a songwriting factory.
Right.
It's not like she's waiting for a few weeks to come up with the inspiration. She seems to diligently, work at this like it's her job. And of course, her credits and her catalog attest to that work ethic. But, what do you see that in her work ethic?
it is ridiculous. I thought I worked hard until I started working with her. Like, I thought I'll be on my grind. You know how people say, Larry, I'll be on my grind. No, you don't. You don't. She's very busy, obviously, right? So she doesn't let anything distract from her true goal, which is to be a songwriter. So as much of a businesswoman as she is, and all the things that she has going on, there'll be days where she's got meetings upon meetings upon meetings. And as a creative person, you understand how you have to get into a zone. Well, at least I do. And I know a lot of friends and musicians who do. You got to get into a mental space to start creating. And to be distracted from that, it can be hard to get back into that zone. She has this ability to get in that zone, hop out of it for a second, to take a 30-minute meeting, hop right back into it, start working, hop out 5 minutes later, in, out, and finish that song. And it's that kind of light switch. She can turn it on and off. That ability has enabled her to, day in, like every day, she gets there before everybody, she leaves after everybody. It's mind-boggling. Her work ethic is legendary.
Well, you know, we talk a lot on the show about the commitment, the extraordinary level of commitment and sacrifice that it takes, especially these guys at the top. And, you know, whether it be hip-hop or pop or rock or whatever it is, whether you're getting in that van and just touring, every stop that'll have you, or, just constantly pushing, what you have is certainly required more than ever. I think with the independent world, Larry, you'll probably attest that, we used to have these big companies, and they used to have artist development, and they used to have these big, rosters of that. And now the major labels especially seem to have gutted that out, where they've got their radio department, they've got their sales department, and they have their lawyers and accountants. And if you're not on the radio and they can't sell a boatload of your records, they're moving on to the next project. Absolutely. Talk a little bit about that and just the evolution you've seen in kind of the changes and decline in what the majors used to do, and how a lot of those indies are now picking up that slack.
Yeah, I've seen it come full circle, man, and a lot of it has to do with just the technology and the industry itself and the consumers, and because of the internet, things are changing, and record companies aren't selling records hand over fist, and it's a new era from a fan perspective, and so you see a lot of cosmetic talent today, not as much substance as we used to see, which. The record companies are businesses too, so everybody has to understand that. So they have to do what they have to do to crunch numbers for stockholders. And when it doesn't happen, they have to, move people out of the way, which opens up the door for independency for a lot of people. People just have to find the right lanes, like indie power and situations like that will help, facilitate opportunities for independence, and it's important right now, man, because I think it's a big movement that's taking place, and it's kind of what I consider kind of like a level playing field to me a little bit when it comes to the industry. You'll see a lot more people collaborating because of those consolidations. So many artists on one roster, everybody's not going to come out at the same time. They just don't have those kind of budgets to really put everybody out. So you'll see acts on major labels having to go work with other people just to keep their brands active. So they'll come jump on independent projects just to stay active and have something going on in the industry. And so it kind of this industry itself, man, it's evolving in a sense for the independents, which is a great thing. So I'm happy where it's going, man. I mean, I've always grinded independent, and I deal with the majors, obviously, with some other producers I work with and what have you. But at the end of the day, man, you have to make a choice what side of the fence you want to be on, and you can't have attitude about it. If you get in a system that has a formula, you can't get mad because you have to wait your turn. With 50 other artists, you got to compete for space for the marketplace, and that's just what it is, And so I tell artists all the time, it's enough independency out here. You just got to find the right lanes, and that's why I'm excited for what you guys are doing here, because it really does help people just try to find, where their lanes are, and really get some real truth about their craft, that, from the numbers. If you're good and you get independent process happening, you'll find out just how good you really are from the sales numbers, versus getting lost in the shuffle of major label situations, So I'm excited about where it's going myself.
Well, we see that so much today that a lot of young talent, they spend 99% of their waking hours trying to get signed and not building their fan base and their catalog and their alliances in the industry. And, we try and let them know that those big companies aren't necessarily looking for talent. They're looking for an indie success story that's already in motion that they can pour that corporate gasoline on and just ignite. And they seem to miss that. Everybody's looking for a deal, but you know the lowly A&R guy these days, he's got no juice. He's got to go to the vice president and the president to get signed and get a budget. And the first thing they're looking at is what's the numbers, what are the sales, what's the BDS and the sound scan and the how
YouTube views,
how many followers,
followers.
And you can't fake those numbers anymore. Everybody's looking for a shortcut to try and get to the end zone, but you got to play the game. And if you don't stack up against your competition, you're not getting very far. And again, we're celebrating right now. Macklemore and Ryan Lewis got the #1 song in America last
Seattle
4 weeks in a row. There you go,
brothers! Congratulations!
And no record deal, no record label. Great? Is that an amazing accomplishment?
Yeah,
you know how tough those Universal and Sony and Warner guys are in there fighting. And a great song with an amazing act is just, you know, we call it the tortoise and the hare because he just came up from left field. They didn't even see him coming. And they're scratching their head. They're offering him every deal in the world. He's not taking it.
Smart.
Just like Mac Miller and Tech Nine and everybody we talk about. If you're already at #1, what exactly are they going to do for you?
And you know what's funny is that you didn't want him when he was coming up anyway.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't offer him a deal before he was #1 anyway. So
yeah,
I wouldn't sign either.
Have you heard the Jimmy Iovine track on the album?
No.
He's got a song called Jimmy Iovine.
Right. Yep.
And again, it's not a straight diss to Jimmy. We love Jimmy. But he's basically referring to the corporate nature that. Once he was buzzing, everybody wanted him. But he didn't feel that again there was any energy rather than these corporate guys trying to take what he already had.
He's a really good example of you nailed it when you said that everybody's trying to get signed, and that's perfect. And that's one of the things I'm always telling people is that's not your goal in life as a musician to get a record deal. Your goal #1 should be to make good music. That should be your #1 goal. And everything else will fall into place if you do that one thing well.
Yes.
And it sounds like it sounds like a simple, like cliche statement or whatever, but your priorities have to be right. You're not in this business to, you know, be a star and to be famous. We're here to make music, #1. Ryan Lewis was and Macklemore, they were making music because they loved it. Obviously, they weren't getting paid for a while, so it wasn't about the money for them. But look what happened, right? They had their priorities were right, and they put in work and they were patient. Was another thing. Everybody wants to get signed now. Matter of fact, at these conferences that I go to, the thing I get asked more often than not, how did you get where you are? How did you get where you are? How did you get in the door? Everybody wants to know how I got there instead of how are you good enough so when you got there, they accepted you, like you stayed, you know.
They think it's a secret. There must have been
a secret, right? But nobody ever asked me, how can I make my tracks better? How can I be a better rapper? How can I be a better singer? Nobody ever asked me that. And me, that's what I was asking when I was coming up. How can I be better? My Flip Matrix, shout out to Flip Matrix, wherever you are. He was the producer Universal put me with, and I was asking him, how you make your kicks knock like that? Like how you make, you know what I mean? I was trying to find out how I can get better. Like the record deal and all that, like I wasn't coming out here to make no money, man, and I didn't. But yeah, I got better though, and getting better, I got far. So,
well, that's great. Again, you know, when you do it for the love of it, it doesn't feel like work. What else would you want to do with your time? And I know a lot of people are resistant to work hard. It's something they don't like to do. But if you really surround yourself with a team, and if your goal is to make great songs and great production, surround yourself with those guys that have that same passion for building the fan base and opening doors and building alliances. And that's really key. Again, this week our special guest, we have Larry D in the studio, Kyle Townsend, producers, managers, executives. The hits are flying with these guys. They both spoke at IS. We're going to be talking about some of that coming up. Right now we're going to go to a video interview we did a couple days ago with Ben Grossi. He is the co-CEO of RBC Records, the amazing label group behind Tech Nine, E40, Too Short, DJ Quick, Exhibit, Bone Thugs, you name it. RBC's making it happen 1,000% independently. So peep some great knowledge here from Ben Grossi. We're coming right back on the road to Hollywood. Well, it seemed like a real perfect time because, again, The majors are real quick to drop an artist if each record isn't getting bigger and bigger.
Exactly.
They still have a core fan base in the streets, and now the internet has basically linked up that fan base where you don't need the big time radio hit to let those fans know the product's there.
Absolutely. There's a ton of artists out there around this time that were getting dropped, as you mentioned, from the majors, but we could still sell anywhere from 10,000 to 400,000 copies of albums. And for a small company like us, there's a lot of money that they're leaving on the table there. And with the advent of all the social networks, the Facebooks, the Twitters, the Instagrams, all this stuff, it allowed us to really level the playing field with the majors up as opposed to just the radio and video element. And with the YouTubes out there and the digital revolution in the music business, it really allowed us to compete at a level where our artists and us could all make a living doing this and do it for a long time. The majors still have a stranglehold on radio and video, but aside from that, there's a lot of areas that an independent label can win at and compete with the majors on an array of different levels.
Well, obviously you're seeing that with your greatest success with Tech Nine, with a constant touring schedule and a very deep, loyal underground fan base that wants the merchandise, that wants to follow every move, and now that's spinning off to his other, rosters, with a great camp that he's built. Talk a little bit about behind the scenes. What are the greatest elements besides a great artist, a great show, and music that really built the Strange Music empire?
Well, I mean, 100% it's touring. I mean, Tech is the poster child of touring. He is a road dog. He doesn't want to be in Kansas City. He wants to be on the road. He does more than 200 shows a year, and that is hands down the secret to his success. While that is the way he's been able to build an enormous loyal fan base that buys all of his albums, buys his merchandise, and he has never had a radio hit. He's never had a video hit. We've had some success on MTV Jams and stuff like that, but 100% the fact that he's surrounded by a great team and the fact that he's willing to work hard and tour is the secret to Tech Nine's success. 100%. I have to say that touring is absolutely crucial for an artist that's trying to develop a fan base. You got to get out there and touch the people. You got to get out there in front of them, and you got to have a great live show. And Tech has all of those things.
Well, I know he's in-house with his booking now. Was it always that way, or did he have an outside agent, but they found that they could control the situation better in-house?
Travis, who's the owner of Strange Music and Tech's partner, is very hands-on. He likes to have control over everything. So having the booking in-house, it allows them to keep more of the revenue themselves as opposed to paying an agency, and it allows them to control everything as well, and negotiate their own deals with the promoters and do all that kind of stuff. So it was definitely a wise move, and it allows them to, like I said, control all aspects of their business.
Now, obviously, these days there's been an erosion of physical retail, even though those retailers that are hanging in there are obviously very open to independent releases and artists with a history. What are some of the other elements of the traditional music business from the priority days that you still utilize today?
Well, when it comes to physical retail, the Best Buys, the Transworlds, the Hastings, the Targets of the world, there's still a lot of retail marketing you can do through co-op advertising. Back in the day, the distributors used to have FMRs, which are field merchandising reps, which when you booked a program, they would have people throughout the country that would go in and check compliances at places like Best Buy. Make sure that if you bought the Powerwall, that your CD was properly put there, that the money that you spent was being, the compliance was there. Because of the decline in the music business, those kind of people no longer exist anymore. So it's very difficult for us when we do co-op advertising programs, we run print ads and circulars and stuff like that, to check whether the compliance is there. But that's one of the ways to market your releases at retail that has existed in the past, and that we still utilize today.
And obviously the internet's the big thing, and it's more and more of a visual world, whether it's your live show or your internet presence. What are some of the other success stories or elements that some of your artists are using to get the word out on a new release?
Well, certainly, the social networks are enormous. Tech and Strange Music are in my opinion, the best at it. They've got an entire team out there in Kansas City, an entire social networking team. While that is really tech on Facebook and Twitter, he's also got people that have access to his accounts that can handle the marketing of the releases, the posting of the iTunes links, the calls to action to go get Best Buy, to go pick up the Let's Meet Our Thresholds at Best Buy. Make sure you pick up the record there. Make sure you pick it up at FWA. It's one of those ways that allows you to directly hit your fans and deliver a call to action to try to get them to do something. So that has been an enormous way. Plus, retail now, the iTunes of the world, the Google Plays, the Best Buys, they want to see us posting stuff to our social networks. Go to Best Buy and so we're going to have it in store there. So we send screenshots to the buyers at all these places to make sure we're doing this, and that in turn allows them to reciprocate and give us additional exposure as well.
Mm-hmm. That's exciting. I mean, you must have dreamed about that in the record companies of the past, that you could actually cut out all these layers in the middle that cost so much money, and were filters and gatekeepers to actually get to the people that really mattered, and that's the people that were buying the music.
And what's also great about this is that it allows us to engage the fans in stuff. Who do you want to see on the next record? What kind of music do you want to see on the next record? And then we can custom make stuff that we already know that they want. Where do you want to see Tech perform that he hasn't performed? What market? All these kinds of things allows us to poll our fans and get instant feedback from them about how we're going to prepare future releases, future content, and this kind of thing. So I think that's very, very key to that whole thing.
Mm-hmm. The views and comments expressed on the following radio program by its hosts and their guests do not necessarily reflect the views of RMCOnAir.com or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
We're back with The Road to Hollywood. Thank you so much. That was Ben Grossi. He is one of the chief executives at RBC Records, doing major stuff. Matter of fact, RBC is responsible for over 10% of all the urban music sold in America on an independent basis.
Wow.
And again, that's extremely significant.
Wow.
One of the things we're going to be doing at IES this year is doing a special tribute to Priority Records, and all the guys over there at RBC are all alumni of Priority Records. And of course, this was the label that launched the careers of NWA, Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, Master P, everybody from, you name it, from Jay-Z on down. They all started, in a big way at Priority Records. And again, we're going to be honoring and doing the IES Hip Hop Honors this year, inducting NWA, and we look to have Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, MC Ren, DJ Yella, and many of the people that were responsible for Straight Outta Compton and the legendary launch that they had with that label and with that record. And of course, we're also doing a tribute to Tupac, Nate Dogg, Eazy-E, and Pimp C, UGK, and Bun B's already confirmed is going to be everybody's going to be in the house. We're going to be talking a lot more about that towards the end of the show. But again, our guests this week on The Road to Hollywood, we have Larry Kyle Townsend. We are doing major hit songs, production, managing producers. It's the world of hits, and that's what we're talking about today. So, Kyle, talk a little bit again about going from session to session, artist to artist, song to song, how you keep it fresh. How do you not kind of get into a routine where you're going in with this next artist and you're not just kind of cookie cutter, type approach?
It's funny you asked me that, because I know I was just having this conversation with myself maybe last week, because I don't have like a sound, like Timbaland's got a sound, Pharrell's got a sound. For a long time, I used to be like, man, like all the producers that I like and that I look up to all have a sound. Why don't I have a sound? But another producer I look up to very much is Quincy Jones, who I've mentioned before already, and he definitely doesn't have, he has a personality, but he could do 20 records and you wouldn't know he did any of them,
Absolutely.
And that's very much been a part of my success, is that I'm able to kind of weave in and out of genres effectively, and I rarely repeat myself. I'm almost fanatical about it. Like, I go out of my way not to repeat myself from track to track. Like, I never do the same thing twice. But the main thing I think that keeps me fresh is that I draw my inspiration from the song and from the artist. It's not about me. And I think when you make it about the song and about the artist, every artist is different, every song is different, and they all tell me different. The song is telling me something different. The artist is, their personality is telling me something different, and I get my direction from that. And I think that's how I'm able to stay fresh. That's how I'm able to stay new every time without repeating. I hate repeating.
So it's a concerted effort. You go in there really wanting to, you know, give it something unique and personalized.
Oh, absolutely. I absolutely do not want 2 tracks to have literally like the same, even the same synth sound, or like literally I'll change it or I'll do something to it. It's not about like, that's not the goal, is to be different. The goal is to be, and it sounds like I'm saying the same thing. The goal is not to be different. The goal is to be new and original every time. So I'm going in trying to make sure I'm new and I'm original and I'm fresh, because the artists deserve it. I work with a lot of major artists who are expecting, you know what I mean, you to make them look good and make them sound good and give them something that nobody's heard. And you can't do that when you just gave another artist the same sounding track, you know what I mean? So yeah. I really do. It's really a creative thing that I want to get to know the artist. I don't even do that. You know, a lot of artists, or producers, I should say, they will, I got a hard drive full of beats. Let me play some beats. And I don't even do that. You know what I mean? Like, I make a track for the artist. I stopped doing that a long time ago. Like, I don't even, play me some beats. Like, no, no.
Right.
Yeah, I don't even do that no more.
Well, you know, again, I think independently, it's, you know, your song has got to be strong in your team.
Yeah.
But the majors, especially at the top, and again, no knock to Dr. Luke and these guys. We appreciate their music,
Yeah.
but you know, the music sounds so interchangeable. Whether it's Katy Perry or Keisha or Britney Spears, all of a sudden, it just, their sound is just so corporate, you know. And again, we understand the pop world, top 40 is obviously different than underground hip hop or jazz or, you know, rock, but you know, it's really exciting that these unique sounds, guys coming out with something totally different, is able to connect with the audience and not have to go through as many gatekeepers and filters before.
Look at the last Grammy Awards, right? Like, that sound that you're talking about, you know, shout out to Dr. Luke, who's dope and is killing it in a lot of ways. But like, none of that sound was represented on the Grammys, right? It was Mumford and Sons. It was fun. It was, you know what I mean? It was the little country kid. I'm sorry, I can't think of his name right now. But it was all these different sounds. It wasn't anything commercial, right? So it's all this cool indie underground stuff that's really, even in hip hop, like the stuff that was on before, you can't get on with no more. You know, it's this new, it's Kendrick and his sound, you know what I mean? It's ASAP and his sound. These new, fresh sounds that are really, so it behooves these new producers and artists to be different and to be original and to bring something different, because that's really what is winning.
Well, again, shout out to Mumford & Sons. This was the 5th year in a row that an independent artist walked away with the record of the year at the Grammys. 5 years straight. And again, hats off to Daniel Glass and the amazing Glass Note Records. We look forward to definitely inviting Daniel to speak at IS and having these kind of inside thoughts of how you can be such a rebel. You know, you're there for the music, and the music doesn't fit. If you would have told somebody, some guys with some banjos and mandolins you know, some crazy percussion, we're going to beat out these giant, you know, pop machines, they would have thought you're crazy. But look at that. You know, the album's almost 2 million sold now with Mumford & Sons. That's completely independent. Larry, why don't you talk a little bit about, again, especially in the R&B and hip-hop world, there seems to be a lot of people that want to follow a formula. A lot of guys come in, they say, well, this guy, he sounds like Tupac, or this guy sounds like Biggie. You know, last time I checked, Tupac had about 20 albums in the catalog. I don't think we need a Tupac light. You know, what do you do, and what do you tell these guys to really, you know, focus on their own sound, really create a lane, even if it's not a safe one?
Absolutely. And just, it's funny you was mentioning, because I was thinking about exactly what you guys were saying, and you kind of, you know, segued into my thought process, because I was saying to myself, you know, when I first started doing P, you know, we watched and seen what everybody was doing, but we said, man, we got to do something different. So I took him a lot of different kind of records that were kind of more left field and not format, because everybody have to understand that the record companies are formatted on structure from stockholders and executives who set agendas way before artists are signed, budgets set up, and so today, man, you have to have that mindset that you can't follow that because that's already been done. I was talking to my buddy DJ Dirty Harry, who wrote the big record No One. He and I do projects together, and he and I were talking about that today, that he was taking some artists in that he's working with. And a lot of labels, they go through, when you take artists into the labels, a lot of times, if you have anything in the ballpark of what they're doing, they'll reject it, and which says everything about what we're saying. You have to have kind of your own lane, your own identity today, if you really want to try to make any kind of impact. I mean, you can be the most okayest artist, but be different. And case in point was kind of more like what Adele did. I mean, Adele wasn't selling cosmetic and Coke bottles and booze and just simple things and sold records, and she was different. And a lot of people don't realize this. Maybe, and some of the listeners should understand that the major labels are making more money off the independent subsidiaries than they are their own actual companies themselves. The Cash Moneys and the companies he's speaking of with Tech Nine, a lot of these guys that are out here doing their thing, and so they're doing just distribution deals through some of these guys. And so it's super important that people try their best to get around quality producers and teams like Kyle and myself and different producers who have some relevance in this industry to help you understand that it's super important that you find your lane to be different. Yeah, you like Pac, yeah, you like Biggie, yeah, you like P. Because a lot of people used to say, Larry, man, could you just give us some of them banging P beats, man, that you used to do? And I said, man, I produced like 7 albums on him. You actually think I really want to do another Master P record? We got to do something different because we got to evolve. There's already a Master P, and yes, the concept that we built with No Limit when I was at Solar, we created a movement that made a lot of independents want to go. That's where kind of Cash Money came from, and all these independent guys just kind of start hitting that formula. Man, well, you can actually get out here without a bunch of radio records and sell a lot of records. And so yeah, that's great, but it was done different. The E40 and them had their own sound, their own style, the click, shorten them. Because I was in that whole Bay movement, and a lot of these guys kind of created their own movement. There's millions of people between Sacramento and Frisco. It's millions and millions of people. So these guys created a whole Bay Area movement at that time. But these guys were all kind of uniquely different. Now, after a while, there were 50 million prototypes of 40 and P, and everybody's trying to sound, spit fast, 50 miles an hour like 40, and, still in short style. So it just, but that's influence. People get influenced. And so, like you're saying, you have to have your own identity. It's super important, man, in this business.
Well, I think one important thing is to have some roots. An artist got to have some roots. If your influence is the guy that's hitting right now, that's not very deep roots. But if you go back to Motown or go back to the Stax or Souls or, all these different eras, that's where your influences the people that influence you, that's probably where they got some of that from. So you got to go way back to go forward.
Know your history.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Coming out with the same sound that's already out there is just a recipe to be a third or fourth rate version of Lil Wayne or whoever that is. Now, Kyle, it's obviously an extremely pressure cooker, business out there trying to get a hit. Right. I know you're involved in the creation of these songs. How much do you get involved in the artist development or kind of finding their sound? Do they come to you already with a style in mind, or how much leeway do you have to help kind of connect and take that vision from the artist and put that into a production or songwriting mode?
It's funny because the major artists, depending on who they are, obviously are established and have an identity and a sound and an idea where they're going. The new artists also have an idea of where they're going, but that's often different than the one that ends up coming out. They have an idea and the label has a different idea, and it's what the label says goes usually. I find it fun with the new artists because I get to be a part. It's not like I'm sitting in with the label and they're saying, Kyle, this is what it's not like that. But I get to put my creative stamp, and that ends up being a part of the wind that blows the sail, and directs, where they're going with their, their whole sound But when I'm doing my own artists, like when I'm trying to find artists or whatnot, that's the most fun, because there's nobody over my shoulder telling me anything at all, and I can just do it how I want to do it. So yeah, I enjoy all three phases, whether they're new artists with major deals, established artists with major deals, or new artists altogether. That process is really, really fun, and it's most fun with artists who listen. Because a lot of artists, especially the new ones, yikes, they have a really solid idea in their head, and I respect that, and I always listen. It's a team effort, but when they listen and are receptive, it's magic starts. Because I can pull, you can see some things in them they don't even see themselves. Like they don't even know how capable they are in doing some things artistically, and they need an experienced voice to tell them. So I enjoy the process with the brand new ones who are listening.
Well, I think diversity is so important, and like we talk about, with the Adeles or Macklemore or any of these artists. Even Tech-9 was recently saying that he, in the roster that he's building, he hopes that his artists actually exceed what he does, and so often we have kind of a person in charge of that, that clique, who doesn't want anybody to surpass them. It's kind of an ego-driven, hierarchy, and it's really exciting to see people, break down these barriers. I know a lot of people, of course, with Macklemore, first thing they say is, I didn't even know the guy was white. Right. Like that mattered. I mean, this song is so undeniable, and what he's doing is so creative. Yeah. It doesn't matter if he was from Seattle or Singapore. The music is infectious. It's taken over the world, and again, we're celebrating independence. A lot of people don't know Adele is signed to an independent label.
Right, absolutely.
They got the Sony machine behind her in America.
Shout out to XL.
Yeah, the biggest selling album in the last 10 years is on an indie label, and that is Martin Mills and everybody at Beggars Group. We look forward to having him and his crew at IES in the future. We're going to take another break. We got a little video here, a little word from Indie Power, more from Tech-9 and the guys. We're coming right back. This is the road to Hollywood. It's all about writing hit songs, producing hit records. We're coming right back. Kyle Townsend, Larry D.
In the building.
No more 808 snares, man. Get some other sounds.
Be the one them call Tech-9. What's up? It's your boy Mac 10.
What up, y'all? This Crazy Bone from Bone Thugs.
What's up? This is B-Real from Cypress Hill.
Hey, yo, this is Method Man.
It's your boy Warren G.
This is MC Light.
Yo, this is K Solo for Indie Power, man. If it's inside of you, man, it's inside of the power, man.
DMX. And you better be checking out Indie Power, right?
What up, though? Indie Power. One and only, IndiePower.com.
If you got any music out there and you're really trying to get in the game, make sure you check out Indie Power. They're going to make it happen for you.
So you see what this shirt says, right? It says Indie Power. Everybody that know anything about rap music and Tech-9 them, they know that Tech-9 got Indie Power. I'm the #1 independent artist in the country.
Totally independent, and I love it.
Everything's important about the indie world. It has been for a long time.
You got more control, and you make 10 times as much money. 10 times more money.
Because of the internet and because of the greed of those old school executives at these record companies, the power is now in your hands, artists.
Take back your art and don't sell yourself cheap or short to anyone.
Once you're independent, then you become interdependent, meaning you rely on yourself and then others wind up relying on you, and it's like the sun and the earth, everybody relying on each other, building it up, strong foundation. That's how Wu-Tang started. You do the same thing.
Don't wait for nobody. Do your thing, man. Life is short. You only live once.
You got to be a part of doing you first, and that means independence.
What's important is the business aspect of it, because you can never forget it's called the music business. You know what I'm saying? 90% is business, 10% is music. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you have to look at it like that, because if you don't, you'll be broke.
Get up off your ass. Don't sit there and wait around for the man to hand you this, hand you that. Anybody to hand you anything. This is Indie Power, baby. Do your thing.
I don't have anybody telling me you shouldn't write that song, Tech. That's gonna offend some people. We do this. We do our merchandise. We put our artists out when we wanna.
And that's why I chose to go the independent route, because you have more control, more say-so, more freedom to be an artist. than dealing with a major. You know what I'm saying? I'm working with Indie Power right now, you know what I'm saying? Much love to them, you know what I'm saying? So y'all gonna start seeing a lot of the life entertainment, Crazy Bone, in your face all over worldwide. So, you know, y'all watch out for that, because it's going down. Indie Power representing the life entertainment.
You know you got the power. The power is in you. Make your music, do you. Don't let nobody tell you what you can or cannot do. Do you. Make your music. Enjoy what you do. Do it from the heart. Love what you do. Expand. Don't be afraid to create. Create. Be original. Make your music.
Do not wait on no majors. Go with Indie Power. That's what I did.
Keep your money, man. Your publishing, man. How you get paid, man. How you take care of your kids, man. How you put them through college, man.
Write it, rap it, produce it, mix it, arrange it, rap it, sell it. That gives you the power.
If your business is not moving forward, then you're moving backwards. You know what I'm saying? You need to have your business right, have it tight in the game, and then you'll know how your business will be running if you're dealing with Indie Power. Indie Power have you in the game, you know what I'm saying?
When it comes to putting it out there and getting it out there and getting that worldwide distribution, Indie Power is the way, Jack.
Indie Power, baby. Gotta move it to where you wanna move it.
You have the right to do your music the way you want to do it. You've got the power. Indie Power.
Yeah, Indie Power, man. Go ahead, man. Get it on yourself. Self-promotion is the best promotion. All right?
It's about doing what you want to do, getting your music out there to the people, and not somebody dictating what the hell you doing. They want you to sound like Jay-Z. They want you to sound like Fabulous. They want you to sound like Ludacris. They want you to sound like Eminem. They want you to be a replica. No, that ain't how music elevates. Indie Power. It's hard to use your own money. Don't think it's easy, because your money can't compete with the majors. But if you believe in it, you will achieve it, and keep pushing. Keep pushing. Indie Power is the best you can do, baby.
Shout out to that Indie Power. You dig? We independent and standing strong in this biatch.
Get with Indie Power. You got the power. Indie Power. Indie Power, man. You already know. Infamous.
Indie Power, you already know what it is.
Indie Power, man. Check it out.
IndiePower.com. Put the power in your hands, you dig?
That's how we do it, you feel me?
Yo.
We're back with the Road to Hollywood. It's all about production. It's about hit songs and really gaining the audience attention. That's really what we're all about, talking about tonight. Again, it's all about the IES Festival and Conference. It's coming up August 7th through the 11th. It is, after so many years in the business, our pleasure to be able to bring the ultimate coming together of the people that are really making the indie world happen, and that's movies, music, TV, reality, touring, the DJs, the comedy. You know, it's really become one big industry, as opposed to being all segregated where, you know, it's this style of music is over here, and if you're doing filmmaking, it's over there. And, you know, it's really, there are no more rules. And that's what's really exciting. We're seeing those rules broken and you know, bent and busted, you know, every day. And that's what's really exciting about the business. And again, you're going to see over 100 leaders in the industry. These are people making big things happen, and this is everything from over 80 different intensive industry workshops to major networking opportunities and events, D-Link, which is one-on-one meetings where you're able to present what you have to decision makers that could, again, change your life right there on the spot. And no question, the IS Hip Hop Honors, the Rock Honors. This year we're going to be rolling out the some comedy honors and songwriting honors and all that. So we look forward to having you there. Check out IESFest.com. That's FEST, short for festival. IESFest.com. I'll bring you right to it. We definitely look forward to having you there and being a part of this. Larry, you could speak a little bit from experience. I've met you at so many events over the years, and it seemed like in the past the urban networks and the BREs and the How I Can Be Downs and and all these, they were all dependent on a major label check. You know, and once these majors started drying up and again gutting out their staffs, all those kind of went away, and there's a new industry being built. And that's really what IS is about. Why don't you talk about some of the experiences of why it's so important to be at an event like IS to really press the flesh and create relationships, because there's only so much you can do online.
Absolutely. First off, I want to just say I'm proud of Jay for putting together a real networking summit where people actually that came weren't throwing trophies, that were on panels and bragging about, it wasn't about the, hey, check me out, I done did everybody and I produced everybody and I'm the dude and I'm the dude. And we were able to actually at the summit really connect with people who were really there looking for information and help. And so we kind of changed up some of our formats depending on the rooms and things that we were in, and being more deal specific with people who were there. And a lot of people showed up. I had Kyle at one of my panels and some other producers, and a lot of people loved. Just in me speaking to people about it, a lot of people loved the summit because they said, I really learned some things. I really, admire, and they had, Jay, brought down a lot of people and attracted people from different countries, and that was big for me to see because I've been to a lot of different things, and I don't just speak on panels or bring colleagues like Kyle and different people I know in the industry to just anything. And I tell people a lot of time to try to get me to come on and speak, man. If this is just about making money, I don't want to be a part of it, man. No disrespect. I mean, do you? But I got in this industry to really help people, not to just, throw trophies and brag about all of my accomplishments, because there were people there to help me when I was coming up, and so I vowed to give back and really give back, and so the Indie Summit actually really does key in on the desire to really want to help people. And Jay brought out a lot of great people, and that's the one thing that really made me proud of Jay when I saw the people that he handpicked that came. A lot of them really were very thorough. They actually really took the time. They didn't just speak and bounce when they finished. They really interacted with people, like Heller and some of these guys. They took the time to really talk to people, man. And I've been to the
Violet Brown.
Exactly. Violet, who
Brian Shafton.
Bought a lot of my records when I was producing Masterpiece. So I love Violet and a lot of these people who really are in the gut-wrenching part of the independent and the major side of it. But they took the time. It wasn't the arrogant summit, and that's what I admired about it. I was, even though I was there speaking in on a business capacity, I enjoyed the actual summit itself, man. I mean, I was like, man, this is really cool, Jay. I mean, I really like this. This is what summits and seminars are supposed to be about, man. It's really supposed to be about connecting, helping people accomplish some things. There were a lot of managers I spoke with, artists, songwriters. They said, man, we really learned a lot. The panels were packed. A lot of people stayed around and sat there and asked really candid questions, and they got them answered. And if they didn't, people on the panel went back and tried to thoroughly explain to people, like Kyle and some of my guys, being other guys I brought. They, took the time to really connect with the people. It wasn't about, just what I usually see at all the stuff I go to or I get invited to. And that's what, to me, made it so effective. And I think a lot of people talked about it, and people are going to continue to talk about it. I think it'll be probably twice as big this year, from that perspective.
Well, I mean, our motive from the beginning was to not only give a lot of great information, but have people go deep. And, I've been on so many panels where there's 6 or 8 guys. You spend half the panel introducing yourself and the other half of it answering one question. Oh, wow, we're out of time. You didn't even get started. How can we be out of time?
I'm Kyle Townsend. 20 minutes later, my middle name is Dwayne.
Let that information be in the program, It's really, there's not enough hours in the day for us to inform. Let's cut out all that BS and get right down to it. And let's invite people. Every one of us could talk for hours anyway. We put so many years into the business. Why keep it short? Kyle, talk a little bit about that and the importance of, really networking at an event like IS, and whether you're a songwriter, producer, or artist, really, being able to come multiple days, how you can really start to build your curriculum and, more importantly, relationships with people. You can follow up with people, that you really got to know a little bit rather than just meet them one time in the hall.
Right. One thing I will say about these events is that they are valuable because it's like everything, a bunch of people it'll take 6 months to meet obviously they're all in the same room, and it's important to take advantage of that. But what's even more important is the follow-up, because I go to these things a lot, and I even personally will give out my own personal cell phone number to a few. Like, I'll just, they'll say something that'll, that'll strike me, and I'll be like, I believe in this person. You know what I mean? I'm going to give them and they won't call me. Like, they won't call me. And what you think, I'm going to call you? Like you waiting for me to call you? I mean, don't you need the opportunity? I'm not saying, I'm just saying, take advantage, follow up. Call these people back, send an email. There was this one girl, Lanice. I don't know if you're even listening right now, but this girl named Lanice called me regularly. And I told her, I respected that kind of consistency and her not giving up, because I'm busy. I can't always take the time to take her call or meet with her or whatever. But she would call. And that was literally the first person. I've done a bunch of these. And literally, I'm not exaggerating, she's the first person who ever called me back. I met this one cat from Seattle, as a matter of fact, at your IES thing. I don't know if you're listening, brother, but this is white dude who plays guitar, sings and raps, gave me his music, was telling me how, I'm doing this Eminem, John Mayer thing. I was like, "Bet, here's my number, man. Call me, whatever." Never heard from him. So I don't know why you were there if you're not going to call the people who you met. It's
bad move, dude.
Yeah, wherever you are, man, bad move.
Missed opportunities.
Missed opportunity. Take advantage of that. Yeah. Like, that's what it's for, is to form a relationship.
I mean, if they're going to have that conversation with you and things don't click and it's kind of cold on the other end, then you know that might not be a fertile relationship.
Yeah.
But not to test the grounds is certainly a missed opportunity.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We want to include also our special guest. You know him. He's one of our guests on a regular basis. Is Trey Love, the comedian, entrepreneur. How you doing, Trey?
Hey, man, I'm great, Jay. It's good to be here. What's up, fellas, man? Y'all inspire me for real, man.
Stop it.
I'm going to tell you, man, y'all got me going. I'm like, man, I'm finna call everybody my phone book in the morning. I promise. Look, but I'm going to tell you something, true story. Why I'm here right now, Jay, I'll tell you. Follow up. We met at the Players Ball a couple years ago, got a good vibe, and I was like, yo, I'm going to work with him. And I followed up, and hey, that's why I'm here.
There it is.
You know what I'm saying? Man. I know y'all miss me, everybody out there, all my friends and fans and stuff. Let me tell you what happened. I just got my car fixed. You ever ain't had your car for 6 months? Jesus, I'm rolling again. You hear me listening to gospel, praising Allah and everybody, Buddha, because I'm so glad to have my damn car. Now, what I want to do is follow up on what you gentlemen were talking about that I really, really liked. You talk about the old school, you know what I mean? Like these I think the younger generation, they don't get it. Because even with the comedians, they tell one hot joke at one club and they Eddie Murphy. It's on, you know what I'm saying? It's like, man, you know what it takes to grind to do what I'm doing, book colleges, churches, you know what I'm saying? Backyard barbecues, you know what I mean? All that, you know what I mean? So I just want to say that, and Richard Lawson, shout out to him, shout out to David Arnold, Tasha Smith, to the ones that are getting into the game. You got to take classes too. If you want to do something in my side, in the acting and the comedy side, you got to take a class, man, because that's where you're going to be within a pool of like-minded people. You know what I'm saying? I know it's time running, man, but look, good to see y'all, man. Trey Love, back, baby.
It's like Trey says, you got to be a student of the game. Whether it's comedy, dance, filmmaking, music, production, songwriting, whatever it is that you have a passion for, you got to commit to and not just jump around, be the jack of all trades. You got to master something, and then you can spin that off. I know we could talk for hours and hours and hours. We're going to invite these guys back. Again, Larry D is such a great producer, manager of major league producers, and he's got major projects we're going to be talking about in a future show. And Kyle Townsend, thanks so much for coming down.
Oh, you're welcome.
He's an amazing songwriter and producer. Be checking for him in the credits.
At the Kyle Townsend Twitter, holla.
There you go.
Yeah, move, not to cut Jay out, but producers, songwriters, stop using 808 snares and kicks all the time on songs, even though it sounds commercial for people. Please try some other knobs on the programs.
Thank you so much. We'll see you next week on the road to Hollywood. Very special guest coming up.
Hey, what up? This is Corey from Slipknot.
This is Matt Sorum from Velvet Revolver.
What's up? It's your boy Mac 1-0.
Hey, this is Mike Inez from Alice in Chains.
What's up? This is Be Real from Cypress Hill.
What's up? I'm Sean from Yellow Card.
It's your boy Warren G.
I'm Brooks Wackerman from Bad Religion.
Hey, yo, this is Method Man.
This is Mick Jones from Florida.
I got a question for you. Are you serious about moving your creative career forward? Then you need to be at IES.
If you're a musician out there, you got a band, you want to rock, don't sit down on your ass and wait for someone to knock on your door.
You can do it yourself. Don't wait for nobody. Do your thing, man. You know, life is short. You only live once.
Totally independent, and I love it.
Everything's important about the indie world. It has been for a long time.
You got more control, and you make 10 times as much money. 10 times more money.
Don't wait for the record label. Do it yourself.
People need to hear the music that's in your head, that's in your fingers, that's in your heart. So get out there and let's hear it.
Because of the internet and because of the greed of those old school executives at these record companies, the power is now in your hands, artists.
Take back your art and don't sell yourself cheap or short to anyone.
If you believe in your music, if you believe in your gift, if you believe what God has given you, make sure you go to IES, show the world what you got. It's going to be going down here in Los Angeles, and it's something that gets all you independent artists getting going on that drive, doing what you guys got to do, man.
Be independent. Don't be afraid to be independent.
You gotta be a part of doing you first, and that means independence. I implore you to go to the IES, the Independent Entertainment Summit, and do your thing.
If you think you know what you're doing in this music business, I don't care who you are, there are things you will learn.
The indie way is the way. You know, the large corporations have basically disintegrated. They're looking to the indie community to create the music and create the genesis of what's going to be the next environment.
If you've started a new band and you're having a little bit of trouble figuring out where to go next or what you should be doing, who you should be talking to, whether you need a record label or how to get your music distributed, you need to go to the Indie Entertainment Summit. That's the place where you go to meet industry panel experts. They're going to tell you everything you need to know to get you where you want to be.
For me, I spend all of my days and months going around the world educating musicians on how they can better actually release their music and market their music. Part of my mission, it's part of the way that we can grow the music business. So I'm going to go at all the important summits that I can go to, and the Indie Entertainment Summit is going to be one of the places that I'll be. You want to be educated? You want me to help educate it? You better be there.
If you can't afford to miss this conference.
You're trying to do your thing in this business, and you're tired of waiting on somebody to help you. In August, come to LA, the Indie Entertainment Summit.
You know what time it is, man. It's that time, Rolex time. Chasing cash, get money, take care. Shout out to Hit Boy, G-Rock, Might Make a Mess, Stacy B, and Circa. And we here with the Indie Entertainment Summit, man. Y'all need to be here, man. It's in LA in August, man. Beautiful people here, man. Dropping knowledge, dropping gems about this new way to pursue this music and a new way to get this money, man.
It's the Indie Entertainment Summit. That's the IES, baby.